Okay, welcome everyone. We are so happy to have you here today for our Adulting 101 cryptocurrency session with the Crypto Strategy Academy. And we're welcoming with open arms our lovely cryptocurrency coach, Ashley Wright. But before we do, we're going to just simply have a few preliminary slides from our events programming. So we like to begin with land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge that Brampton Library is located in the Treaty Territory of the Mississaugas and the Credit First Nation, and before them, the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, Huron, and Wendat. We also acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and other global Indigenous people that now call Brampton their home. We are honored to live, work, and enjoy this land. So with respect to our programming department, we'd just like to let you know what's going on with programs for the next little while here at Brampton Library. Don't miss these upcoming programs. We have at-home trivia, Hollywood versus Bollywood versus Hollywood North trivia, and that's April 21st, so it's coming up very shortly from 7 to 8 p.m. And it's a fun time, so we welcome you to join us for that. We also have our Tech Collect Drive, which is April 30th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So the Tech Collect is going to be in person. Essentially, you bring in your broken items that can't be repairable. We have Team Talks, for our National Youth Week events starting on May 5th. Well, sorry, it's starting actually on May 1st to May 7th, where we have various Teen Talk videos that are being released on our YouTube channel. But our May 5th event is an open discussion about the conversations our teens in our community are bringing forth through these videos that will be posted throughout the week. And that's from 6 to 7:30 p.m. So please join us for that and celebrating our youth. We also have Makerfest, which is a fantastic event coming up over the weekend of May 13th to 14th. What Makerfest is all about is we have a whole bunch of entrepreneurs in the Peel area who are going to be speaking on different panels to let you know of maker related materials and products that they produce and sell. But beyond that, we also have various sessions for all age groups on different kinds of maker technology. So if you love maker spaces and tinkering around, this is a good opportunity for you to get to know what's going on in that field of study right now. And then we also have our next Adulting 101 cybersecurity session coming up on May 17th from 5 to 6 p.m. So to register for any of these events, please see our calendar events at BramptonLibrary.ca. Finally, just some housekeeping. Please be respectful of everyone and keep yourself muted unless you're asking a question. This session will be live streamed and recorded this afternoon and may be used for Brampton Library and our professional portals. Closed captioning is available. To turn it on or off, use the CC button at the bottom left of the screen. If you have any questions throughout the session, kindly type your question in the chat and we will address them. I will now hand over the session to Ashley. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Natalie. I'm super excited to be here. And I like to keep everything really engaging as well. So I see we have some amazing people that are already joined the conversation. So if you can hear me, if you're excited for today's conversation, please go ahead and just drop some ones in the chat. I always love to take advantage of that feature because, like I mentioned, I like to keep it very interactive. And we're going to be talking about some exciting information today. So I am super excited for each and every single one of you. We are going to be going through a lot of content. So I hope you had pen and paper handy. But at the same time, as we go through this, if you do at any point have questions, feel free to put the questions in the chat. Like I said, I like to keep it very interactive. This, learning about cryptocurrency can definitely be fun. So feel free at any time to ask any questions or any comments. If I say something that you're excited about or that you are familiar with, definitely let me know in the chat. So once again, if you can actually just drop in the chat, let me know which city you're tuning in from. And of course, I know this is more focused on Brampton, but I know we may have people tuning in from everywhere as well. So I always love to be able to shout you guys out and be able to connect with all of you as well. I'm actually going to go ahead and share my screen and actually get started in this because I'm so excited. I want to say thank you once again to the Brampton Library as well for putting on this event. And believe it or not, one of my first crypto workshops was actually hosted at the Brampton Library right by Bramley City Center. So definitely have some history there, but I'm really excited about that as well. And yeah, like I mentioned, today we're going to go through a lot of exciting content. So as we start diving into this, we start looking at, today's topic. Yes, we're going to be talking about how to actually monetize crypto and NFTs, right? The exciting industry that is literally everywhere. Everybody's talking about. So I'm going to give you guys a bit of an introduction. We're also going to talk about the different ways you can actually make money with cryptocurrency. Some of the biggest or top mistakes I see a lot of new investors make. And we're going to dive into a bit of an introduction for NFTs as well. So I hope you guys are excited because, like I said, these are some really hot topics that we're going to be diving into. But also do me a favor, just kind of curious as well. Just drop a 2 in the chat if you already heard about crypto or Bitcoin or Ethereum, any of these cryptocurrencies or even NFTs, right? Even if you maybe haven't participated just yet, but if you've heard about it, just drop some 2s in the chat for me. I want to get a good idea of kind of where everybody is at as well. Okay. But as we go through this, as we start to dive in, for those that are hearing my voice for the very first time, my name is Ashley Wright. I like to say I'm a serial entrepreneur from Toronto, and I am the founder of the Crypto Strategy Academy, where I teach individuals how to start investing, trading, and earning crypto in literally about 7 weeks for that program. And then I'm also the co-founder of Crypto Babes. So that is a space or community for women that are in the crypto and blockchain space that want to be a part of a community to really just learn and grow within the space together. And so I'm really focused on really just helping people when it comes to not only, the crypto space and finance, but also mindset. So anytime I have the opportunity to partner with organizations such as, the Brampton Library and so forth, I always get really, really, really excited. Okay. Now, for me in my journey, I actually got started in crypto back in 2016. So I've been in this space for some time, had the amazing pleasure of seeing Bitcoin go up drastically as well as drop down drastically as well. Okay. And, back in 2016, I actually heard about Bitcoin through my parents who are also entrepreneurs, heard them talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, the digital currencies. And, back in 2016, there wasn't a lot of people talking about crypto. So at that time, I actually thought my parents were crazy, but I'm like, you know what? Let me just put some money in there. Let's see what happens. And so I invested about $300 into Bitcoin back in 2016 and forgot about it for a few months, right? And then I went back and I'm like, you know what? I need to check on my money and see what's happening with that investment. So I went back, checked my wallet, my crypto wallet, and that $300 investment grew to almost $900 within a few months. And so I got really excited and I'm like, I don't know what I just did, but I just need to do that again. And I'm like, listen, I just need to learn and really just dive in. And so that's exactly what I did. But fast forward to today, of course, I've been able to create 2 amazing and exciting companies focused on the education piece of crypto. And one of the reasons why is because throughout my journey, I realized that a lot of people made money and a lot of people lost money. And the biggest difference is really just education, understanding how to get involved, how to avoid wasting time and wasting money, and avoid, taking on a lot of risk when it comes to a market like crypto that's always moving. Okay. So before we jump into all the good stuff, taking a step back and thinking about why cryptocurrency, what is it, and what is the purpose of it? Okay. So when we think about this, I always love to talk about the evolution of money, right? Understanding, what has money looked like over the past few years and centuries as well, right? We can see we started off with like barter, then we went to gold coins, right? And that was our mean of exchange, right? Then, of course, physical cash, which, we still kind of have today. And then now it's like everything is online, right? Where literally you go to Starbucks or wherever you want to go, you can tap with your phone, you can tap with your watch, and you're good, right? So it only makes sense that the next type of currency that we have, or the next version of it, is totally digital. And that's exactly what crypto is, right? So for those that already do online banking, same exact concept. Everything is online where you're able to log in, see your balance, be able to move money around, send money to other people, but it's not tangible. You can't actually hold the physical currency, right? Now, the other really big difference is that crypto doesn't have as many rules as our traditional currency does today, right? With Canadian dollar, there's always different rules in terms of your bank says, how much money you can spend per day or how much you can send, right? So there's a lot of limitations on there. But with crypto, it's a total opposite. It's like you get to be your own bank, right? Which means there's a lot more freedom with it, right? Which is really, really exciting. Okay. But as we start thinking about crypto and start thinking about, okay, well, how do I actually make money with it? How do I actually take advantage or get involved with cryptocurrency? And so to break it down for you, I've actually put it into about 3 key categories of how you can make money with crypto, right? 3 crypto income streams. Okay. So number 1 is investing. This means you are actually buying and holding on to these crypto assets, right? Long term, right? So for those that maybe already purchased cryptocurrencies, really just buying and holding, right? The second is trading cryptocurrency, right? This means you're actually buying and selling on a short-term basis so you can make money day to day, right? So even when we think about like right now, Bitcoin, of course, has dropped significantly, right? You can still make money on the small day-to-day movements, whether it goes up or goes down a couple $1,000s, right? Which is exciting, okay? And then the last piece is earning, right? Being able to actually earn cryptocurrency or get paid in crypto, which is super cool, right? Now, just by just dropping a 1 in the chat, just drop a 1 if you've actually purchased cryptocurrency already, right? Regardless of which coin it is, or if you're interested in actually buying cryptocurrency, just drop a 1 in the chat for me. I want to get a good idea of who already has some or who's actually interested. And then I'm going to break it down and actually show you how you can actually get your hands on some cryptocurrency as well. Okay. But these are the main crypto income streams. And even before you start with the first pillar, investing, you want to make sure that you start thinking about the type of investor that you are, right? Because realistically, there's like over 15,000 different cryptocurrencies that are out there. And so it's like, how do you choose or how do you decide which cryptocurrencies to invest in? Okay, so I'm actually going to switch screens. I want to share with you guys one of my favorite resources, okay? When it comes to learning about different cryptocurrencies or investing, this is my favorite resource. It's called coingecko.com. I'm actually going to go ahead and drop the link in the chat. Perfect. So this is literally for those that want to get into crypto, like you're going to be on this website like literally every day. Okay. So as soon as you go here, it shows you the list of the top 100 cryptocurrencies. So you'll see right away we have Bitcoin as number 1. We have Ethereum, we have Tether, we have XRP, Solana. A lot of the top cryptocurrencies, of course, are here. You can see what the current price is in US dollars. You can see, how has that cryptocurrency moved within the past hour or 24 hours or even 7 days. Okay. And my other favorite is the 24-hour volume. How much money has been put in or is moving around for that cryptocurrency within the past 24 hours, right? Which is really exciting. So this is a platform you'll be able to learn a lot about these different cryptocurrencies. If we even click on, let's say, Bitcoin, now it's going to take us to that page where it gives us all the details about Bitcoin, right? What the current price is, what what the website is, where you can actually go to learn a little bit more about it. how many of those coins will ever exist, which for Bitcoin is only ever going to be 21 million, which is not a lot. Okay. And if we go down a little bit more here, we can actually see the price. We can see what is the highest price, the lowest price, get a little bit of the visuals from the chart as well. And usually when you scroll down a little bit further, they usually give you a short snapshot, maybe like a paragraph or two that actually breaks down a little bit more about what does that cryptocurrency do or what is it about. Okay, so all those details are there, and you want to use this literally as your guide. Like it's a free platform that gives you all of that information. So even as we start looking at like NFTs, or even we have like the DeFi coins, right? Decentralized finance, right? All these different areas of crypto, all that information you can find right here on CoinGecko, right? It's a great starting point to start learning about these different projects and different opportunities within the cryptocurrency space, okay? Now, as we think about, okay, well, that's, the best guide, which is awesome, but how, or, what are the steps to get involved, okay? Now, this system that I've created is a system that I actually use in my Crypto Strategy Academy, okay? So this is a 4-part system that you can follow if you're like brand new and you want guidance in terms of how do you get into crypto the right way and what do you focus on, okay? So this is the Bsdg system. B stands for buy. So if you want to get into crypto, the best way is to get your hands on some crypto, right? Do make your first purchase. And so that's where you'll hear me talk about some of my favorite platforms, such as ShakePay is a really good app that allows you to make your first purchase on there. They're very simple, I like to say. Unfortunately, they only give you access to both Bitcoin and Ethereum. So there's not too much in terms of like being able to pick up other cryptocurrencies, but it is a very simple process. You'll see other platforms such as maybe crypto.com is also really good. And these are all available to us in Canada. Now, Canada, I'll be honest, the regulations are a little bit more strict. So we don't have as many options as, let's say, like the US or other places. But, those are definitely my top 2 platforms. And the third one would be a platform called Diversify, right? That also allows you to buy cryptocurrency and also diversify, right? They have a lot more options like Polkadot and Chainlink and stuff like that too, which is awesome. And what I'll do is I'll make sure to send some of those resources over to the leads, right? So of course they can go ahead and kind of send out some of those additional resources, all the links and everything that I talk about, you will have access to it. So don't worry, I got you. But I'll make sure to send that out. Okay, so that's the first pillar for buying. Number 2 is security. So after you've purchased crypto, the next thing is you need to find a crypto wallet that allows you to secure your investments, right? So yes, maybe you're using these platforms I just talked about to buy cryptocurrency, but you do not want to leave it there, right? Now, the reason for that is because yes, you can go on the website, you can buy crypto on it, that's fine. But if for whatever reason something happens to that website or to that platform, right? And let's say, they get shut down or their website has been taken down or whatever the case is, next what's going to happen is they're going to lose their funds and so will you, right? And so to avoid losing your funds, you want to have as much access to it as possible, right? You want to actually own your funds, right? And so with that being said, that's where we're going to start looking for what we call decentralized wallets that allow us to quote unquote be our own bank, right? And so that's would be the next step. Now, security, yes, you want to secure your investments, but you also want to secure your information, which is just as important, right? So there are like some really great, whether it's like really great like websites that allow you to create, think of it like, Hotmail or Gmail, but it's like the secured decentralized version of it, right? I personally would say to use that like for the crypto space. So whenever you're creating an account on these crypto platforms, you want to use the most secure email possible versus using like Gmail and so forth, because they still get hacked from time to time, right? So you want to be extra cautious. And then in addition to that too, is really just making sure you're being secure with like your computer, right? As well as your phone. You don't want to necessarily always be connecting to like public internet Or, you know, if you are using like a crypto wallet that's on your computer, you don't want to just be using that computer just any and everywhere, right? So you want to kind of think about that as well, okay? But step 3 is diversify, my favorite, right? So this means that now you're actually looking at the different categories of cryptocurrencies, right? So if I go back to CoinGecko, and I'm going to go back to the main page here. And also, if you guys have questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. If this is making sense to you and this sounds good and you're enjoying it so far, just drop some ones in the chat and let me know. Perfect. Okay. So what we can do, as soon as you go to CoinGecko, you'll actually see there's a tab here that says categories. Okay. So as soon as I click on categories now, it's then going to show me a list of all the different types of categories within the crypto space, which is a lot, okay? But now we're able to see, okay, which categories are maybe, do I find interesting? Which categories are taking off and growing? Which ones are maybe going down, right? So if we look at this, okay, we'll see that there are different categories, of course. We'll see categories within the decentralized finance space that I talked about. We'll see cryptocurrencies that are in the NFT space, non-fungible token space, right? Meme tokens, which I think most people are pretty familiar, right, with that one, because that's where like Dogecoin, Shiba would fall into, right? Meme tokens, right? So there's a lot of different categories. And as you're looking at, okay, which cryptos do I want to invest in? You might want to look at this and say, you know, I'm really into fashion. Maybe I want to look at those coins. Or I'm really into sports, which cryptocurrencies are in the sports space, right? So you can actually do it based on the areas that you're interested in. And as we go through this even more, you'll realize that you have a lot of the same features here at the top where you can click and say, you know, which categories have had the most growth within, let's say, like the past 7 days, right? So you can see that, you know, everything has kind of rearranged a little bit. And we'll see that the number 1 category is move to earn, right? So these are cryptocurrencies that are, you know, have an incentive behind it, getting people to actually move, you know, physically, right? And actually being able to earn, which is a fairly new category as well, right? So, and right behind that, we have music, right? So for all my creatives out there, the NFT space, or even just cryptos in general, are so amazing for you, right? Even whether it's like art or music or photography, like whatever it is, like there's a whole entire niche just for you, right? So you want to take time, go through this and get a good idea of which coins make the most sense for you, which one you're interested in, and you can invest based on that, right? I think we also see a question here in the chat too. Let's take a look at it, which is secure websites to get coins. So great question. So when it comes to actually getting cryptocurrency or purchasing cryptocurrencies, right, CoinGecko actually does a great job at actually showing you where you can go to buy these cryptocurrencies, right? So I'm going to pull that up. I'm going to show you guys exactly what that looks like. So I'm going to go over here. Let's pull up Polkadot as an example. And if anybody else has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat as well. Okay. But I'm going to show you exactly what to look at or where to look as well when it comes to where do you go to buy it. Okay. So the very first step, of course, is in the search bar, type in the coin that you're interested in, right? And of course, for this example, I did Polkadot. Okay, so with this now, we can actually see, yes, you know, Polkadot is here. We're able to learn a little bit more about it. But let's say you want to figure out where do I actually go to buy it. If I scroll down a little bit, we're going to see a tab that says markets right here. Okay, as soon as I click on it now, it's going to rearrange just a little bit. And when it says markets, it's really just showing you where you can go to buy it. So now you can see there's a lot of different places. There's a lot of numbers, but we're not going to go based just on this list, right? In this order. Okay. The very first thing you want to do when you get here is click on where it says 24-hour volume. Okay. And I'm going to click on that. Now, the reason I do that is because you want to use a platform like a website that has a lot of money flowing through it, right? That a lot of people are using, right? So that's why I always like to rearrange the list first. And as soon as I do that, you'll see that Binance shows up, right? Now, what's also important, like I said, here in Canada, the regulations they're a little bit more strict. So unfortunately, Binance used to be one of my favorite platforms, but we don't have access to it anymore, right? So just keep that in mind. But we're going to be, there's two things you're going to want to look for, right? The first thing, of course, is the exchange. So if I scroll down a little bit more, based on this list right now, what I can say from my personal experience, right, what I'm really excited about, one of the platforms that I like to use would be something like crypto.com, right? So crypto.com, you can see that yes, is available, is an option. Coinbase is another option as well, okay? And let's take a look here. Yes, we'll see something like Kraken is also an option as well, okay? Now, the other thing you need to look at when you're on here is looking at the pair, guys. This is so important because the pair is saying, okay, well, you want Polkadot, also known as DOT, but which currency do you need to have in order to buy it, right? Because you can't just use any and every cryptocurrency or any currency in general. Only certain websites have certain currency pairs, right? So if I go back up for a sec here, as an example, when we look at Binance, this row here is telling us that if we want to buy Polkadot, we need to have a coin called USDT, which is Tether, right? Now, that also lets you know that, hey, if you want to use that website, you need to make sure you have that coin in order to buy that cryptocurrency. But you'll also notice we see Binance here again. And same thing, they have the option, the other pair for Polkadot and BUSD. If we scroll down again, we have Binance, we see DOT and BTC. So which means Binance not only allows you to buy Polkadot, but they have different pairs. That means you can buy Polkadot with Bitcoin. You can use a cryptocurrency called BUSD. You can use another one called USDT, right? So there's a lot of pair options. Now, for the most part, you're not always going to see like Canadian dollars straight to like one of these other cryptocurrencies, right? Most of the time, you're going to need to buy Bitcoin first before you can actually buy the other cryptocurrencies, okay? Because Bitcoin is like the main, I want to say the main currency, especially when it comes to crypto. So you need to have Bitcoin before you can buy all these other cryptocurrencies, right? I will say that crypto.com does a really good job in terms of allowing you to go from like Canadian dollars to a lot of these cryptocurrencies very easily. So I will give them that. And then for those that do like email transfers and you're familiar with that process, you can actually send an email transfer to crypto.com in terms of like loading your account, which is awesome as well, okay? But this is exactly where you would go to actually decide, which websites do I want to go to, and how you can actually find them as well. And then literally, if you click on any of these pairs here, it will take you straight to that website. Okay. But yeah, really great question. I love it. Let's take a look here. Do you prefer this website over CoinMarketCap? Great question. So, I used to use CoinMarketCap, believe it or not, but I actually changed because I noticed that CoinMarketCap is actually working side by side with Coinbase as well, right? And so I want to make sure that the platform that I'm using there's no bias information, right? And so the fact that CoinGecko, like I said, was still owned by the company itself, they're not tied to like any specific website. So then now we don't have to worry about the information being biased, or maybe they're showing, information that's more tailored towards their company, right? So that's why I stick with CoinGecko. But overall, it's about the same information, but really great question. Let me see. If anybody else has any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat as well. Okay, perfect. I do see another one here. Looks like this is from Monica. It says, what does number of coin here means? The figures look too low. Not too sure if you're referring to this specific page or the page I was on previously.
I was referring to the Gecko page that you were showing. So there, the number of coins, like 15, 16. So is that the, like, when we look at the stock market, right? They have like shares in, hundred thousands or millions, but here the number of coins like 15, 16, 17. So what does that actually mean? Like they have just these many coins that, people can buy?
Yeah, so great question. Are you referring to these numbers at the side here? Perfect. So if you're referring
No, it's not. It's the row number. It's the sequence. There was one other page where, if you click on something, then yeah, on the right, I was seeing the number of coins for all those different cryptocurrencies that were,
okay.
there.
Okay. Yes. So great question. So the numbers represent a few different things based on which page you're looking at. So if we go back to, let's say, the first page, right, it's mainly the numbers on the left usually represents the ranking, right, for the cryptocurrencies. Now, when I say ranking, we're talking about how that cryptocurrency ranks when we're looking at the market capitalization, right? So if I look across over here where it says market cap, right, that is really giving us an idea. And I'm actually going to show you what this looks like here. So let me just pull that up here 1 second. Okay. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to pull this up right over here. Awesome. So if we look at the numbers, right, and they all are ranked by market capitalization, the market cap itself really just means the current price times the circulating supply. Okay, so current price times circulating supply. Now, when we look at that and understanding what circulating supply really means, it's talking about the amount of coins that are out there available to the public, right? And so you'll notice with how CoinGecko is designed, right? It's really, you can see right now, it says rank number 1 because the market cap literally is the largest, right? So when we're looking at the ranking, that's specifically what we're talking about. Does that make sense? And if so, you can just drop a 1 in the chat as well. But that's exactly what that means for that specific number, okay? Now, when we're looking at, let's say right over here, where it says max supply, right, for Bitcoin, and you can see 21 million, that number specifically means how many coins will ever exist for that cryptocurrency. And what's important to know is that not every cryptocurrency has like a maximum, right? Some cryptocurrencies are maybe unlimited or maybe have like billions, right? Or sometimes they're even creating more as they go, right? So you also want to keep that in mind. And that's literally what makes the difference too, as to why some cryptocurrencies are only a couple cents and why others are like thousands of dollars, right? And you'll start to see the trend, right? Because look at this, right? Bitcoin, like I said, only has 21 million, and we've seen the price currently at a 41,000, right? Now, if we were to go to another coin, I'm just going to pull up everybody's favorite. Let's go to Dogecoin as an example. We'll notice that Dogecoin, for the most part, has been on the lower end, right? And one of the reasons for that, you'll notice there's no max supply, but there is a total supply, right? And technically, the total supply is unlimited. So they can create as many coins as they wish, right? And once again, that is why you'll notice that some cryptocurrencies reach higher price points than others because of that supply and demand factor, right? So those are really some of the key numbers in terms of what you'll see as you're navigating this platform. The only other thing that you'll probably notice as well, like we kind of talked about, is going to be the 24-hour volume in terms of the numbers as well, okay? So just that's another thing to kind of keep in mind. I do see some amazing questions in the chat, so I appreciate it. I love the questions. Let me just take another quick look. Perfect. Does it make sense? How do you convert coins back to cash? Yeah, really great question. So when it comes to crypto, you're going to notice you're going to have multiple platforms that you're going to be using, right? Because they all have their own unique purpose. So some of those platforms that I talked about that allows you to buy or go from like Canadian dollars to Bitcoin, right? You will end up using those same exact platforms to then go from Bitcoin to back to Canadian dollars, right? And they have that feature where like you can do an email transfer back to your account, or they have like a bank transfer where they'll actually do the deposit for you, right? So there's different ways in terms of how you're able to take out those funds, right? Or take out your profits. But it's just as simple as it is, you know, depositing funds into your account as well, okay? So I love it. Perfect. Which coin would you prefer to buy? Means which currency? I'm not 100%. I think you may have to rephrase your question regarding that one. And I do also want to put a disclaimer, right? Everything I mentioned is based on my own experience, not financial advice. So please still do your own research as you're going through this. Have to put that disclaimer. But the other thing I really want to touch on as we kind of go through this is really just understanding that CoinGecko does a really great job of going through all of that information and really just deep diving on a lot of these points, right? Now, at the same time, I want to make sure you guys understand some of the top mistakes I see a lot of investors make, because I want to help you guys so you guys can avoid making these mistakes and avoid losing losing money essentially, right? So the number one mistake that I see a lot of people make is, right, they're buying at the wrong time, right? Or do not have a strategy in terms of how they're investing, right? So buying at the wrong time, a lot of times is really driven by your emotions, right? You hear people talking about crypto, how much money they're making, this and that. You see them in the news, or everybody's talking about how Bitcoin is going up, and you get really emotional, right? Your emotions start to kick in, and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to get some, I need to buy some, right? And then you end up buying, but you're buying at the wrong time because next thing you know, Bitcoin drops drastically, right? And of course, you start losing money on that investment, right? In addition to that, you have no strategy, right? So you're literally just aimlessly investing, putting money into the market, not really understanding how or what you're trying to get out of it, right? The second mistake I see a lot of people make is lack of security, right? We talked about that as well with the system is, once again, people are leaving money on these exchanges, right? And unfortunately, for those that like to read, I would highly, or even actually, they just launched a documentary actually on Netflix, right, about the story of a Canadian exchange called Quadriga, right? A very interesting story, right? And long story short, it was an exchange that people were able to use to buy cryptocurrency, and literally one day they just disappeared, right? The website went down, and the CEO apparently passed away when he was in India. Long story, but at the end of the day, a lot of people lost a lot of money, right? So you, once again, like, security is a huge factor, right? Even to the point where like people are DMing you on social media, right? A lot of fake accounts and stuff like that. So you want to be very careful, and please do not give out any cryptocurrency to anybody that messages you. Please, please, please. You'll be surprised at how many people do that. And the thing about crypto was, like, once you give somebody cryptocurrency, you cannot reverse these transactions, right? And it's really hard to actually track that. So you want to be very cautious, okay? And then the last piece, third mistake, is no exit strategy, right? So if you're putting all this money into the market, all this money into crypto, how are you going to take that money out? Like, what is your strategy around how you're going to do that? Are you taking out everything? Are you going to take a fraction of those profits out, right? I see a lot of people focus so much on putting money into the market. We see Bitcoin take off, your portfolio grows significantly, and then the market drops significantly like it just did, right? And you're looking at your portfolio and you're like, oh my gosh, I was just up so much, and now my portfolio has literally dropped, right? And once again, you did not have a plan of how you are going to take out those funds, or if you're going to take out those funds, right? So you want to be extra cautious about how you are navigating this, and making sure that you are being intentional with it as well, okay? Let's take a look at some of these questions here. Have you made any poor decisions early on, nature of the same? Yeah, definitely. When I was starting out, like I said, I got started in crypto back in 2016. There wasn't as many resources as there are now, right? And crypto wasn't as hot back then, right? And so a lot of it was really just trial and error, right? And I had the opportunity to see and experience, a bull run where we see Bitcoin take off drastically, right? I think it went up to, I think Canadian was like 21,000, and then went back down to all the way to even like $6,000, right? So I've gone through the ups and downs, and I understand like what to do, what not to do. And that's why I'm so passionate about the education piece, because so many people are getting in right now and they're not aware of how to actually get in the right way, right? So hopefully, like I said, you guys are learning a lot from today's session. If you're enjoying it so far, just drop some ones in the chat. I always like to keep it engaging, like I said, so don't be shy. And I see a lot of the great questions, so I appreciate that as well. Awesome. Let's take a look at this as well. Awesome. Is there a sell order? So that's a really great question. So when we start thinking about even like the trading side, right, being able to buy and sell cryptocurrencies, a lot of these platforms will, will give you the option to actually create an order where you can sell at a certain time, right, or a certain price rather, right? So you can actually set it up automatically that, hey, if Bitcoin reaches, I don't know, 50K, I want you to sell this amount and put it back into cash for me, right? You can actually set all of that up automatically, right? And that's like the beautiful part, thinking about like trading now, where you can do the opposite, right? If Bitcoin drops to, like, as an example, like 20K, I want to buy this amount of Bitcoin, right, before it jumps back up. So you can set all of that up. And, that's what I say from trading, actually trading on a day-to-day basis, you can make money whether the price of these cryptocurrencies go up or if they go down, right? So even if your portfolio, your investment goes down, you're technically losing money, you can still be trading it and make money, which is so powerful, right? And for those that are really interested to learn more, especially about the trading piece, I have some really exciting and really informative videos on YouTube that kind of break down how do you navigate these exchanges, how do you actually, do your first trade or do your first purchase, right? Especially if you want to, set some of those automatic orders, sell orders, or buy orders too on some of these platforms too. Okay, but I also want to just give you guys a quick introduction to NFTs before we wrap up. Okay, so as we think about NFTs, everybody's talking about it. It's definitely the hottest trend. But as we're looking at this a little bit more, we start to understand that NFTs, right, really just means non-fungible token, right? So think of it as a totally verifiable digital asset, right? That you can actually prove that, hey, whatever the digital asset is, you can actually prove that you own it, right? It's all about ownership, right? There's different categories, which we kind of talked about. We said NFTs can be in the art space, the music industry, gaming, fashion, sports, right? There's so many different categories. And a lot of times people believe that, based on what we see on social media, we believe that if we want to get into NFTs, we have to like go onto one of those marketplaces and spend tons of money purchasing an NFT, right? The truth is you don't actually have to do it that way, right? And I actually advise my students to do it the second way, which is really just investing in a cryptocurrency that's in the NFT space, right? Instead of buying the digital NFT, you're buying a coin that's in the NFT category. Now, the reason I say this is because now, right, you have the opportunity to exit those investments a lot easier, because how an NFT really works, right? It's really community focused. So if you buy an NFT and you want to then sell it, maybe it goes up in value, you're in profits, you're excited, you want to sell it so you can take those profits out. In order for you to sell it, there has to be someone else on the other end that wants to buy it from you, right? So you're dependent on somebody else wanting what you have in order for you to actually get your profits, right? Compared to if you just buy a coin that's in the NFT space, right? We just kind of went through some of the different platforms, Binance, Coinbase, and so forth, that allow you to literally just swap whatever you want, right? Which means once you see profits, you can go on there, swap it out, and put that back into Canadian dollars, and you're good to go, right? So it's a lot more liquid. And that's why you always hear me talk about, the two ways of how you can actually get involved with NFTs, right? Now to the right of the screen, in the little blue box, you'll see I have some of my favorite NFT platforms, right, that I've listed in different categories, right? Some NBA Top Shot is definitely one in the sports space. We have VV, the VV app by Comey is another project, and they also do NFTs. I want to say more in the collectible space. So for those that are into, like, let's say Marvel or Disney or any of those exciting brands, they have collectible NFT characters that you can actually own, which is really cool. And then, like I said, there's so many different types of NFT celebrities that are creating their own. We have artworks, we have music, right? So there's a lot of really great resources when it comes to the NFT space, right? And really just diving into it. So I want you guys to think about this. Yes, there's a lot of information, but I want you guys to really just take it back to the very first few steps, right? Because even before it helps me get into like NFTs, DeFi, all this exciting stuff, you have to first make sure you have the foundation set, which is that same system that I talked about, buying cryptocurrency, securing it, diversifying, and growing. Once you do that and that's set, then you can start diving into NFTs and some of these amazing areas, right? Which is the exciting part, right? But nonetheless, it's also one of the reasons why I created the Crypto Strategy Academy, right? This program that literally teaches you how to start investing, trading, and earning in a more detailed setting. So you're able to actually get all of that information, have more of a coaching setting as well, right? Over 7 weeks, where now you can actually ask questions and be a part of a group of individuals that are all learning together, right? Where you're able to really dive in and really learn about the key pillars, right? So this means that we're talking about, portfolio building, we're talking about trading. So for all those that are interested in trading, I do break it down as well. So for those that want to do like live trades, learn how to like get in, get out of trades as well. That is, of course, discussed in the program too, right? But everything is in detailed with, of course, weekly classes that are all recorded. And you get access to all that information too, which is awesome. Okay. Now, before we kind of wrap things up, I also want to put it out there as well and invite every single one of you to an event that's happening this Friday. So this is an in-person event, okay, happening in Toronto, right near the airport actually, that we're going to be having this exciting crypto and chill workshop where, of course, you'll be able to get a lot more information. I'll be deep diving even a little bit more, especially in the NFT side, okay, which makes it really exciting as well. Now, I do see another quick question here. Let's take a look. Who determines what an NFT is? Can you create and post to sell page? Yes. So let's see, really great question. So in terms of NFTs, right? Anybody, right? And like I said, this is the beautiful thing about crypto. Anybody can actually create their own NFT, right? So right now, if you wanted to, you could create your own, right? And this means that you can actually, and it's like, this is perfect for creatives that are already creating content that want to add that sense of ownership and value to what they're doing, right? So anybody can actually create an NFT of whatever it is that you want, right? And then, you're able to think about, which platform or which blockchain do you want your NFT to be on, right? And that's where you'll hear, people might create, majority of NFTs, I like to say, are created on Ethereum, Ethereum's blockchain, and it tends to be very expensive, right? So that's another thing to keep in mind, but a good place to start, especially if you want to look at what's out there, is a platform called OpenSea, okay? And so OpenSea is literally one of the largest NFT marketplaces that shows you all the different categories where you can actually buy and sell NFTs. And, if you decide to create your own NFT, then yes, you're able to actually upload it and actually start selling your NFT on there as well, right? Which is super exciting. So there's a lot of different resources and there's a lot of different websites for NFTs, but it depends which category, right? Because like I said, there's so many different categories, different types of NFTs. So you have to first decide what type of NFT are you interested in or that you want to create. And then you're able to find those specific platforms or marketplaces within that category, okay? Let's take a look here. We're going to take a few more questions and then I'm going to pass it over to our leads to see if they have any other questions or anything else they want to add as well. Let's take a look. Awesome. So I see a really great question here from Sky. Are the profits made with crypto taxed? So great question. So I have to, of course, be transparent. I'm not a tax professional. Okay. However, what I can say is as you are, going from one currency to another within the cryptocurrency space, they look at that as a taxable event, right? So what you want to do is really start tracking anytime you are buying or selling cryptocurrency. So all of that information is organized and you have it ready, right? Some platforms, I believe it's Crypto.com, I believe, that does a really great job tracking everything and making it very easy for individuals to actually start, doing their taxes when it comes to their cryptocurrency, right? So depending on which platform you're using, some of them may already have things built in. that allow you to literally just make it a little bit easier for you. So at least you can navigate that. But I would still regardless say to actually talk to an actual tax professional that can give you all the details and actually tell you, which category or how you will be taxed based on how you're actually using your cryptocurrency as well. Okay. I think that is perfect. I am actually going to pass it back over to Natalie as well. I want to say thank you so much again. And also keep in mind, like if you do have questions or want to learn more, feel free to reach out to me. I'm always sharing a lot of great free resources as well throughout social media too. So feel free to connect with me. There's a lot of exciting events. And like I said, for those that are interested, I will see you guys on Friday for that event because it's going to be amazing. So thank you so much for having me, everyone. And I'm going to pass it back to Natalie.
Thanks so much, Ashley. That was a fantastic presentation. I, for one, have learned so much because, as you mentioned, this is a really hot topic. But it's so good to hear your expertise. You've been in the game for a long time, and I would love if you did pass on that information from the presentation. We can pass it on to those viewing today. That'd be great. Now, if you are interested in attending the Friday event, we had a couple questions about where it is exactly. So, Ashley, do you mind maybe providing a link in the chat where they can get more information? Just because on the slide there, it didn't show the exact address. But so great to see that so many people are interested. Please know that Ashley is willing to answer your questions when you get in contact with her via these platforms. So we really appreciate everyone joining today. And as I mentioned, it was just a refreshing presentation because you were able to walk us through the basics and then give us some in-depth knowledge on how to proceed moving forward. So we really appreciate that. Thanks, Ashley. All right, everyone, we are going to stop recording now, and we will make sure to have this recording posted on our YouTube channel for future reference. If you have any other questions, of course, you can always reach out to our events email, and we'll be glad to get you we'll get the right information to you. So thanks again for attending.